Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath.
The podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grunbaum.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard.
Hello, Diana.
Hey, Polina, what's going on?
Not much, just hanging out.
Yeah? Hanging out and talking about
Everything.
your... but also your pick.
But specifically, right now, we're going to try to focus our conversation.
Not possible.
Probably not. And talk about 1995's Before Sunrise, which is a later movie than I tend to pick.
Or if you're like me, you accidentally pick up Before Sunset.
Yeah. Damn it! I had to check 5 times.
Yes.
Like, I was like, I know I'm going to watch the wrong movie. And then I was like, why do I think I saw this movie earlier than I did? What is it? So, but yes.
95.
Yes.
95. I was 12. And I missed the boat, so this is your...
You didn't see this at all?
No, I didn't. I watched this for the first time last night.
Oh my God. That's exciting. Or maybe not. Or maybe incredibly boring.
Poker face.
You did good.
Coming soon.
When I looked at Diana, she didn't have that like, yes, it was. Yes, I saw this in the theater. I think maybe more than once. I saw this. I was actually the age of the characters.
Oh,
It's not making sense now, isn't it?
Well, it can or it can't. It has to get you in the right place.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a different movie watching. Like all movies are, everything's different when you experience it with the different experiences. That's just like things you learn, things we try to teach you here at Happily Ever Aftermath.
And I will give you credit for this particular pick. This movie transported me to my thought process at their age, when I was their age.
Yes.
So I found myself going like, wow, I remember being dumb that way.
Yeah. No, well, me too, definitely.
Hopeful that way.
I'm for those of you who haven't seen this movie, let me do a recap, which probably has more plot than you need, because there's not a lot of plot to this movie. Of course there isn't. Those are the kind of movies I tend to like, not sure why. On his way to Vienna, American Jesse, played by Ethan Hawke, meets Céline, Julie Delpy, a student returning to Paris. After long conversations forge a surprising connection between them. Jesse convinces Céline to get off the train with him in Vienna. Since his flight to the U.S. departs the next morning and he has no money for lodging, they wander the city together, taking in the experiences of Vienna and each other. As the night progresses, their bond makes separating in the morning a difficult choice. So as I said, I saw this movie when I was this age, and I saw it actually, I think I saw it at least once. I saw it completely alone, because this is a movie that it's one of those movies that's like, oh my God, this is my actual, like, this is film of, to me, my total fantasy. And certainly much more of a fantasy when I was their age, which is that
Polina,
I love.
I've been to Europe.
Yeah. Which is that I love, it doesn't have to be a European city, to be fair. I love, like,
Polina, I left this area.
Polina, I like things. Yes, I am guilty of enjoying things sometimes.
And then actually going out and experiencing
and then
it.
trying to do it again. Yeah, it gets me every time. Not enough, though. So I love, like, I love, like, arriving in a new city and wandering around. The other thing, so this is like that part of the fantasy. The other thing is, so at the time, like, my friend and I had moved to San Francisco, and my friend in New York and I, we're like best friends in high school. We lived together in New York, and she and I would do these things called 6x6s or 6 to 6s, which were that we would just leave the house at 6 p.m. and not come home till 6 a.m. and just wander around and drink coffee and drinks.
So that's an actual thing
in New York. No, it's a thing we did.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
saying it's a thing everyone did, like as an organized group, but that's what because
Well, you called it 6x6s, and I'm just like, wow. So like 2x4s. Go on.
kind of, it's like going to In and Out and getting like a 4x4.
Oh, that's also good. But
Yes.
unfortunately, you non-Californians or
Yeah.
the occasional Texas or Nevada or
That's when you
Arizona.
order 4 You can get like any number of patties
An
and
In-N-Out burger.
any amount of cheese. And In-N-Out Burger is a burger chain. In California.
and slowly working its way to
Yes.
Nevada and Arizona. And it's not as good though. But also, we're trying to remove it from our diet. Anyways.
Yeah, it's very unhealthy, but it's quite delicious. And complicated politics. But anyway, regardless. So that's one part of this fan. So we used to do that, and I really missed it. And when I saw it, I remember thinking about this because
4x4s?
no, just like doing these on no, because by then I had finally discovered a 4x4, so it was no longer a mystery.
So yeah, you and your friend would go out,
And we would just like wander around New York City from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. because I worked really crazy hours. I was in theater, and she was an art student. And so we didn't actually, we're really close, but there were all these things that we didn't have time to do together because I worked till 1 a.m. And so this was our I don't know, this was like a thing that we did and really enjoyed. And then the other thing is, and I think this is appropriate for this month, which I think you should introduce.
Oh, well, we hinted to it last time, but we are experiencing Hawktober.
Yes.
The films of star Ethan Hawke. And I don't know about...
You're also experiencing Hawktober.
I am experiencing Hawktober right now.
Yes. And our listeners may be experiencing Hawktober.
Well, some listeners might. Every moment is Hawktober.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
we need to know you, or we need to spend more time with you, whoever you are.
So here's my question, because you have hinted at your I don't want to use the wrong word. Love
Crush.
There you go. Good.
So yes. I had a huge crush, which has kind of faded over time, but I went to high school in Princeton, in West Windsor and Plainsboro, which is right next to Princeton, New Jersey. And a friend of mine invited me to, he did the music for the Glass Menagerie, which also I was a total theater geek. And so I was super into the Glass Menagerie.
Mm-hmm.
And or just like a lot of Tennessee Williams. And to see a show of when he was doing in high school, and it was at a private school near, there were a lot of private schools in the area. And the guy playing Tom, who's the main character, was... I instantly, the minute he walked on stage, totally developed a huge crush on him.
And that was Robert Sean Leonard.
And so I don't really care about
He was a doctor.
But I got confused, as I often do, and suddenly I just had a crush on Ethan Hawke. It was very, very, very typical of my, I don't know what was going on. No. And it turned out to be Ethan Hawke.
He was an oncologist at Princeton Plainsboro, right? I'm throwing it all together.
God. Well,
I'm so confused right now.
Well, no, what happened was I tripped because I was too busy mooning over Ethan Hawke, and then I had to go to the emergency room, and that's where he was working, and that's how I met Robert Sean Leonard.
Wait, you mooned Ethan Hawke?
I think mooning over. Maybe I should be specific. I did not actually moon Ethan Hawke.
For the listeners at home, I haven't been drinking, but I'm feeling giddy. Hence the childish jokes.
I love the childish jokes.
No, you will not love these.
You're like,
now.
oh wait, no. You just like them in small measures.
So he was in this play.
He was in this play, and so he was friends with a good friend of mine. And so I would see him at these, in fact, once I sat on a couch next to him and we shared a beer, and it was amazing. He barely talked to me, and it was the closest I got. I never revealed this crush. I was completely embarrassed. I don't even think I told anyone. I must have told my best friend at the time.
I'm gonna stop you right there, just for 5 seconds at least, because this is not, oh my God, I had such a big crush on Ethan Hawke because he was in this movie and he was in this movie.
No.
This is, oh my God, I've had such the biggest crush on Ethan Hawke. He almost breathed on me.
Well, no, I had the biggest crush on him because he was really, really amazing. Or, I seemed amazing at the time in The Glass Menagerie, which just makes me the biggest geek of all. I only found out that he was in movies kind of after I already had the crush on him.
What a sellout.
Yeah. No, I liked him. I liked him
I liked him
before he was cool. Like before anyone else did, before anyone else knew about him. No, it was
But if you pay
humiliating.
attention, he's probably been cool for forever.
Oh yeah,
Came out of the womb
for forever. Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, he was older than me too, so it wasn't like I stood any chance.
So
like, he was just like.
Oh, I was about to say that's like plus 5 points crush.
Oh yeah, no, that made it more. Like I think he was a senior when I saw him, and I was maybe a sophomore, junior or something.
That's like regular people.
That's regular people
age.
time, but it's like, when you're in high school, it's like,
So this is
theater. I can't talk to him.
So this is theater captain of the football team.
This is the theater captain of the football team.
The lead in the Tennessee Williams play.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Did he do the Shakespeare play this year? That was Robert Sean Leonard again. Damn it.
Damn, I clearly had crushes on the wrong person, so I can talk to Diana about it. Anyway, that was my entire thing. Weirdly, I also had a drink, though no, we did not share a drink with Uma Thurman once.
I think they had a drink together too.
I bet they did.
If they never did during their marriage,
Oh my God,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, they're not married now. Maybe they should have.
I don't even drink, and I've shared a drink with my husband.
That's actually true.
I don't drink, and I accidentally drank your drink.
Yeah, you and I have shared a drink, and you don't even drink. Okay.
That was an accident. I thought it was a glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
It was gin.
Mm-hmm.
It burned.
I felt very bad for you.
Oh, I couldn't spit it out either. That was a waste.
Well, and you were like you were with a bunch of people you didn't really know, so you couldn't even do we couldn't even kind of make a moment of it. Like it just wanted to be like, yeah, that happened.
That was my moment.
Yeah.
It's in my mouth and it burns. Somebody give me a lot of water now.
Yeah.
Am I drunk yet?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't work that way.
So before sunrise.
So to say that this movie, when I saw it, it was still going strong.
Important side note, I did not realize that this movie has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't think I've ever even seen a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, except for weird.
And this movie.
Yes.
I don't think I've except for this exact movie.
Well, yeah, and I just didn't know, I saw it. Anyway, I'm kind of surprised.
It's also number 204 as of today on the IMDb top 250. So I think that's pretty interesting.
I love this movie. I think it's great. I'm going to say it deserves it. I don't know if it's 100%. I just saw some really good movies yesterday, and I was like, I would say those are better. I would say 8.5 is probably a better movie than Before Sunrise.
I thought you were going to say it's more like an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, it's probably actually.
That makes more sense.
I have a lot of affection for this movie, but my point. I'm actually going to finish one point. I'm going to see how it feels.
I'll derail you. Don't worry.
Okay, good. I don't want to feel too uncomfortable. Is that to me, this movie is it's a movie of a complete fantasy, which is that I meet Ethan Hawke on a train in some European city and we walk around all night. And I look like Julie Delpy. Everything about it, just talking all night, doing weird things, going just to just seeing what happens, going to different areas, just wandering around.
I'm bilingual.
Yeah.
I am comfortable traveling by myself.
I do like traveling by myself, though I've never gone to Europe by myself now that I think about it. Oh, yes, I have. But I was visiting a friend. Does that really count?
Yes and no. I mean, technically she was visiting her grandmother.
Oh, that's true.
And she does live.
Yeah, she was just coming back.
And she was coming to be with her friend. Didn't she have lunch with her friend the next day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not very much plot, as we mentioned before.
There is no plot. They literally wander around, they see a few things, and
it's Richard Linklater's My Dinner with Andre.
Yes.
Which I've never seen. But
really?
I just assume it's sitting and talking.
It weirdly, yes.
Yeah.
Strangely, everything you've heard about the movie is true.
Wallace Shawn.
Mm-hmm. And you know me, I just told you about my crush on Ethan Hawke, having seen him in The Glass Menagerie, and that was a big thrill for me. So obviously, I'm kind of a geek this way. I like these movies.
Oh no, it makes sense to just have these things
about it
that you enjoy, and then you watch somebody embody it as well. So you're drawn to that.
That's what movies are supposed to be, right? That you watch. It's
in the play,
Fantasyland.
Maybe.
I mean, it's a visualization of
Depending-
your actual fantasy.
depending on the genre you like. I mean, there are people
Yeah.
who are really into horror movies, and
That's true.
I mean, if that's their fantasy,
Then
I recommend that you seek inside and do what's right.
Yes, which hopefully is not making those manifest. Please, especially if you live in.
Unless
my
it's like a
neighborhood.
really good revenge movie. Back on that again.
Yeah, that was really satisfying though. Yeah, I kind of But so that was the thing in watching it, and I have to admit I watched it this morning again. This is an only once, and I was gonna kind of do it. I was gonna watch it while doing something else. I mean, while doing something physically, like kind of mindless, so I could pay attention, but still. And I just kind of just lay on the couch and just sort of let it like wash over me, including the feelings of utter embarrassment of your 23-year-old self. Like I really, really associated with this character. In fact, I recently watched a video of myself at a party, which at this age, which I do not recommend, which I kind of, I don't know if I don't recommend it to anyone. I'm mixed because there is something in seeing yourself like at that age, like 20 years hence, where you're like, oh, poor girl. Like, I really feel for, like, you were okay. Like, you know, you were.
You just want to.
You're always, you know, you're always prettier at 23 than 45.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's okay. You'll get there.
That's the other thing.
You'll
that
get
you
there.
see yourself and you're like, get there. I had the same dress on as Julie Delpy does in this movie.
Oh, I was about to say, like, when you were watching it.
Oh my God, that would have been awesome.
Because I do have some things that I still own from there.
From that period.
Yeah, mainly scarves, but you know, hats.
I mean, it wasn't it was a slip. It was like a long slip dress.
I'm still trying to get back to that weight, but that's not the point.
Well, that's the other thing. I don't think I could fit into that. Anyway, regardless.
But you couldn't pay me enough to be 23-year-old me.
Probably. No, me neither. But
she needed that money too, but no.
Yeah. But I was going, she probably would have misspent it. But then again, so would like hurt me. I just like, to me, this movie, even watching it, I mean, some of the like terrible, pretentious things that they said. I mean, I think when I saw it, those things felt, they felt real. And what's interesting is I looked up the age that, you know, Art just called him Art Linkletter. A very different person. Richard Linkletter, who I actually really like. I like a lot of his movies. I've seen all the Sunrise, Sunset.
The trilogy.
The whole trilogy.
Have you seen all of the Ethan Hawke Linkletter collaborations?
I think I have seen, most of them. I loved Boyhood. Boyhood is one of my favorite movies of all time. No, not so much.
No, I'm just thinking I picked that to win the Oscar for Best Picture that year, and that kind of kicked me out of the top, you know, for my Oscar pool, damn it.
Oh, man. Then,
damn you, Birdman.
For hating. Yeah, okay. I'm like a crazy person, but I just did not like Birdman. I found it incredibly pretentious, which is hysterical because I really liked this movie.
I was about to say, wouldn't people say that about Boyhood, though?
I don't feel like Boyhood, why would Boyhood be pretentious?
I don't know. I would imagine a Linkletter movie would be pretentious.
Did you see Boyhood?
I did. I have not seen Boyhood.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
Wait, have we met?
Oh,
I know
that's
a
true.
lot about movies. I don't watch them. I ain't got time for that.
Except, which is why we have a podcast.
I see these movies.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so that is my experience of that time, and anyway, how it shaped my views. Everything about this movie
is your fantasy.
Is my fantasy. And this whole, and the entire way they connect. And also, but rewatching this movie, I just think I was like, oh, the romance is not just spending an entire night with Ethan Hawke or something and just wandering around. Something I thought a lot about was...
Did you embody Céline?
Céline was like hashtag goals for me.
Oh, okay.
Like when I saw it at this
23-year-old goals.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'd like to think that you have moved on from.
Yeah, she was well educated. I love. There's this moment where he says, "Oh, where do you go?" And she goes, "Oh, Le Sabon." and just like the look on his face, like, "Oh fuck!" Like I'm not. Like I feel really intimidated now. Now I have to say something smart. Like she's like, "Yeah, just go to the Sorbonne."
So
yeah. So I think that's the big, like the Ethan Hawke, obviously a total romantic draw, obviously a draw for that, but just this also that kind of like that you make, the fantasy of the connection for one night. And also my husband and I really both like these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for him, like it's, I think for him, it's also kind of a Julie Delpy thing. But
that's his hashtag goals?
Being married to Julie Delpy.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
So basically,
I see.
But no, I think these are like we saw the last one together, and it's this thing of like, to me the whole idea that I like the idea that the movies kind of happen at the time, at the age at which I am. So before sunset.
Before sunset.
I was like, wait, is that?
That's 2.
Yes. Before sunset, number 2 is like they are the age that I was at that time. So that's
when you saw it, they grew with you.
They grow with me.
Holy crap, they do grow with you.
That's the problem. That's yeah.
So they actually did make them in actual time.
Oh my God,
did they boyhood that too?
I don't think they meant to, from everything I've read, but I can't even remember because it's just sort of, I don't know. So I guess like to me, this is just unadulterated romance without all of the like, will they or won't they shenanigans that you have to kind of fast forward through because it's exhausting. It's just
because it's one day. You can't
all the good stuff. Yeah.
The only way you the only way you could do this in real is if they're on a bus, and if it goes less than 50 miles per hour, the bus will explode.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is.
Oh my God, it's speed without the bus. This is what would have happened.
It's speed on a train.
It's speed on a.
But there's no danger.
It's speed when they get off a train. It's speed if they got off a train and they weren't high on adrenaline, and all they did was like, well, let's just wander around.
Speed 3 Eurorail pass.
And the trains are really well run, so it's just like there's no danger.
Patent pending.
Yeah. I can't wait till we have the production studio we want.
Get Richard Linklater on the phone.
I just want to be. I've never wanted to be a billionaire before, but now I do. I just want to make these movies that we keep talking about.
I would like to burn all of my money. You know what? I have a better idea. Let's make Speed 3,
where all they do is just they wander. But it's like a train, but it's the Acela. Like it's just the East Coast train, and they just get off in Pittsburgh. And they can't find anything to eat like at 4 a.m. other than the Dirty O.
That is peril for me. Okay.
That is, well, it's upsetting. The only place is this like fast food joint called the Dirty O. It's the only thing open. There's probably more things open in Pittsburgh at that time. I don't know why I'm just talking. Anyway.
Polina,
so that's
I've been to this place.
I've been to Pittsburgh. Oh, Polina, I've been to Pittsburgh. Okay. Another fun fact, which you're totally going to make fun of me, is I lived in Vienna when I was a small child. But if it makes you feel better, I was a refugee in Vienna.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Which is kind of like being in white collar jail compared to like being a refugee anywhere else.
Okay, you just completely undid my snarky comment.
I know. Do you see what I did there?
made me realize the reality of the situation, decide that I shouldn't make fun of you in front of our audience.
I mean, to be honest, I was 6 and didn't really feel that bad. I mean, I think it was very stressful for my parents, but for me, we had no money, but I was just running around Vienna,
so you were being
entertained.
So you were Jesse running around Vienna with no money?
I was totally, oh my God, I was Jesse. I was actually, yes.
Okay.
But much like Céline says, I was doing these things, but I didn't have the right person with me. I did, actually. I had my dad with me, and he was so much fun.
You were 6.
And we had so much fun together.
Aw, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Question. I'm sorry.
And the dairy products were very good. I really like the yogurt.
So oh my God, you answered my question. How was the dairy?
Oh my God, I know. Doesn't everyone ask that question?
If I may point out,
yes.
So the first time.
So I'm pretentious. I think we could sum this up. The TLTDR for this is Polina was pretentious.
Good Lord, Polina, come back. I'm trying to talk about myself right now.
Oh, okay. We can do that now. All right. Let's go.
First time I ever saw this was for this podcast. Okay, here we go. But I will point out that I knew about this movie. I think I had, friends, people, Entertainment Weekly putting it in front of my face.
See, that's how I process all the movies you go to see. Is through Entertainment Weekly.
It's in the zeitgeist.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Or, a Google search, whatever.
Yeah. So what was it that you thought about it?
The first time I saw it all the way through was last night.
Yeah.
But I will say that I knew about it. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I was flipping through the channels and I saw, I'm like, oh wow, it's Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy.
This French chick.
Well, no, I think I was pretty good at names back then. I was just flipping
like
through.
me now.
Oh my God, it's the chick from American Werewolf in Paris. Yeah, that's
hysterical.
That's me digging deep. Flipping through, and it's just like, oh, this is Before Sunrise. I've heard about this, and I'm watching it. And I'm like, okay. And spoiler alert for everybody, she's on a train.
We did mention a train before.
He's on a bus. Credits.
Oh my God.
Well, this
is what people talk about.
Oh, this was that was anticlimactic.
That was
so like they never spoke to each other. She was already on the train. He was already on the bus. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Now, and I didn't. This is another one of those. When you're like, you watch a movie and you're like, I don't remember this. So the end scene is okay. So first they're on a train, they're on a bus, and they're staring out the window, and they say nothing, and they see nobody.
No, I knew that was coming when I watched this movie.
But then they go to all the places they had been that night, and they're either empty or like there's one person see them. So you actually saw the movie without them in it. If you only watch the part
that's right
from the train to, and it's only like it's probably a minute and a half.
Yeah,
they show the spot at which they presumably make love, and they have like the bottle of wine and the 2 wine glasses, which is also something, trying to convince people to give me things that I probably don't need. But for free because I have no money was also something I try to do in my 20s quite often.
See, I actually wrote that down. I think I was more interested in the fact that did Jesse ever pay that?
Oh my God, I was totally thinking that. And that's when I'm like, I'm an old lady.
Yeah.
I was like, did he ever send that? I mean, to be honest, I don't think that bottle of wine like screwed them. And did he even write down the name of the place? And if he didn't...
How do you write a check to that place?
Does he still feel kind of weird about it?
I don't know, but just the fact that there's so little plot in this movie that I'm focusing on whether or not he paid that bartender back for the bottle of the wine he begged him to give to him.
If it makes you feel any better,
do they address this in the other movies?
Oh my God, I don't know. Because I started being, even though I watched this with like a total goofy smile on my face, which even my husband, even my husband when he walked in was like, is it as good as you remember? And I was like, yeah.
Well, not to.
And I actually said, I was like, I'm sad you're not watching, because he was getting ready to go out. He was like, I'm sad we're not watching this together. I was trying to create a romantic moment, which never works. They have to happen naturally.
No, they don't. Do not believe what she just said. You have to make that's marriage, honey. You have to create your romantic moments. Because if you are waiting for it to happen naturally, you're going to be waiting a really long time. I don't know if that's just really bad commentary on my marriage right now.
No, I think you're right, actually. Okay, I'm right. I'm going to amend my statement. Because I think what you have to do is you can't force... It's this thing of like trying to force a huge romantic moment.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Putting a lot of pressure. So yeah, you're totally right. You can't wait for those moments, but you have to, you can't put a ton of pressure onto them, which took me a long time to realize.
When you said that, first thing that popped in my head, a song came on the radio. Ryan and I had been dating not too long. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Pull over. And he did. And it was a really awkward place for him to be pulling over. And I cranked it up and I got out and it was like kind of misting. I'm just like, let's dance in the rain together. And it didn't work.
Yeah.
Because the song had ended.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, honey, you didn't get out of the car fast enough.
I try to think about that. We have a deck right outside our living room, which is really beautiful, and it's usually very cold. But when I had come home, it was still warm, and it was still warm, and it was misting, and I love in San Francisco sometimes when it's warm and misting, which doesn't happen very often. It's really nice. It's and I love that time, and a song came on the radio, and I was like, oh, it's our song. Like, let's go out and dance.
Cherry
and
Pie by Warren.
Instead, it was, well, yeah. I told you that. I told you it was Cherry Pie by Warren. Yeah, or younger. Get out of my mind. So we walk outside, and but by then it had turned ridiculously cold.
Aww.
And
How long did it take for him to get out there?
Not well. It was just, I didn't know because I'd been home for a few hours. I didn't know the mercury had dropped like 15 degrees. And so by the time we got out there, it was so cold. Aww. And we're so uncomfortable. And we left these muddy prints like from being outside and going in.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was...
We have sad versions of that where I'll just be like, honey, I want to go out on a date. And then we go out on a date, but it's not like it used to be because customer service is terrible. And then like the music is way too loud and then I can't hear him. And then we're, the food is okay.
Is not like good enough.
Well, to justify going out.
Yeah. Or just like the calories. You're like, I'm going to get this thing.
And then that's
and then
not
you're
good.
like, oh, that's not that good.
And then I order more stuff to compensate for it.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh, yeah.
Never worked.
This is why we eat together, we split things. So we don't run into this problem.
But then I just want all of it, so then I order a second one.
Yeah,
this has happened for real.
I love that about you.
This has happened.
Yeah, but I love that about you because then I'm like, yes, let's order more. Okay, so you experienced this movie before. You had a rather anticlimactic climax.
Yeah, all 4 minutes of it that I had seen when I was younger. I'd also like to point out that with this particular movie, once again reinforces my belief that movies taught me that you find love while you're on vacation.
Yes, that's exact. You know what? That's it. You're right.
Yeah. Well, that messed me up.
That's why I go on. That's why Sean and I go on so many vacations.
But he's already coming with you. Wait.
Oh, you don't find it for the first time.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. See, that's
you actually.
like.
No, you're not reinforcing your love on vacation. I'm talking about you find your love.
Oh my God, I'm screwing this up. But you don't even like going on vacation. That's where you're.
I already got a husband. Why would I travel?
Okay. All right. So, how did you find this movie coming to it as an adult?
Okay. Well, one of the first things I wrote down, of course, I'm writing observations about the movie.
And you're the age that Richard Linklater was
when he
made this movie, really.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
That's interesting, but
is it really?
Well, I was also
trying to say, why is it interesting?
Well, because I was reading that the dialogue was kind of rewritten by the two main actors. So, well, there's only two actors really. And so that speaks to the movie very well and actually makes it sound genuine. Yeah. Because if this was written by a 32-year-old man, I was actually preparing myself. I'm just like, all right, how is this going to sound like crap?
No,
but it was
you're
actually,
right.
but it was very genuine.
You're right. And that was actually the thing is like, when he spouts BS, or even she does, there is a thing where they engage with that. Mm-hmm. They acknowledge that it's kind of BS.
And it's I felt with it on both ends, because when Jesse would spew his cynicism, I'd be like, I did that and I get it. And when she got sad when he did, because there's a palm reader and there's like the poet who offers to write them a poem, on the spot. And then he'll give it to him. And then he gives her this like beautiful poetry. And he's just like, he just wrote that and then just stuck the word in there. And I'm just like, oh God, I would have thought about then. But now that I'm older, I took it at value. I didn't honestly believe that he wrote a poem then and there and put the word they chose in it genuinely. But the fact that he incorporated it as he did, and it was a beautiful poem, it was a moment. Whether or not it was artificial.
And I think that was her point, right? And I felt like I think at that age, I would have just...
She didn't have to take it as 100% genuine, but she could still take the moment as real.
That's the thing. And I think if when I was her age... I think I would have taken the guy like that I had all these feelings for. And like I would have internalized his thing, and she was just like engaged with it. She was like, it's a moment. Yes. Like, she took some of my money, but it's not that much. And it was kind of a great
You didn't pay for the fortune. You paid for the experience.
Yeah. And a week later, she would have had this, she was walking down the street with if a week later she was walking down the street with just a friend and some guy read this poet, she would have laughed at the poetry.
Sure.
And been like, this is ridiculous. But at the time, it's like, I mean, I think when you're falling in love, there's this thing that the world is created for you. And that's what he's breaking.
And this environment is coming together.
He's breaking this bubble.
Yeah. And in the cynical, this is who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. This is good to know early and often.
Yeah, like if he always like believed.
But it's like, look at what we're doing now. You asked me to get off a train with you, and I said yes.
Yeah.
Now, if you were truly the cynical person that you were, why did you ask me in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Jesse's kind of a contradiction in its own way, where he wants so badly to it, but at the same time, she's like, but I've been hurt before. So
and she pointed out like, oh, you were upset because she didn't even notice you, which I thought was really like very funny. Also, like this whole thing about, and I think when I saw this, I mean the part that I kind of forgot over time, but actually was meaningful, is that he had actually ended a relationship in a really messed up way, like 3 weeks before. So it was still quite fresh.
Oh yeah.
It was enough time that he wasn't like, and he obviously didn't go around
he's also alone with his thoughts. That's dangerous.
No, that is dangerous. It's like Anne Lamott has this quote, which is basically, there's some parts of your mind that you should treat like a bad neighborhood. You don't go into them alone.
Oh.
I love that line.
That's pretty deep.
It is.
Yeah.
The great Anne Lamott.
I imagine they were older than the 23-year-olds, because even though these two youngins are, very naive in their own ways and very too cynical for their own good in other ways.
Well, they're also graduate students.
Are they?
Yeah.
I thought she was. I thought she was going back to school to finish. I know she was 23, but you can, take a year off.
No. I read, they were graduate students.
Okay. Well, here's the other thing. I wrote down a couple of things that I want to get your thoughts on. Well, actually, I'm just going to make a few observations of how she is #goals right there, because when they're having their, tell me the truth, back and forth, he asks her, what do you hate? And she's just like, I hate it when I'm told by strangers to smile.
Oh, God,
and I'm like, wow, that hasn't changed.
And I remember when I saw that one, it was like, oh God, finally. Cause I always, I mean, especially, I think when I saw this, I'd moved to San Francisco.
I just don't understand why strangers for me, it's people I knew would tell me to smile. So I'm just like, I don't get strangers telling me to smile.
I think it happens less here. And I also think people don't do it anymore because it's like, it's gotten out somehow that this is irritating as
that resting bitch face is real.
Yeah.
And also just because I'm not smiling.
People just don't do it. And I think people don't. I've noticed people do it much less. Maybe it's time, but definitely people tell you less in San Francisco, but they still did. But in New York, it was like insane. I just couldn't every single day.
Well, San Francisco, it's dangerous to approach strangers for any reason.
Yeah, but people actually are very chatty in a way that they weren't, but like people would.
This is the introvert. Strangers don't approach me. This is the extrovert. People are really chatty.
I'm really chatty. Well, no, but I obviously, I mean, I lived like on the edge of the Tenderloin. I walked through the Tenderloin every day, and I just like, I'm like, oh, thank you, Mr. Cockhead. Like, sure, I'm heading to work. I'm thinking about problems. Like, I don't want to smile. But just like everybody, it's so annoying. But I love how she did it. Like she had a good analysis for it. But I remember like being like, yeah, finally someone says this thing, which of course now is like pretty obvious.
It's funny in '95. It's finally. Yeah. I still like hearing it in general.
Oh my God, yes.
Second, actually no, if anything, one step.
Oh, before. and then the fact that when French people, like when she's angry and French people, they're like, oh, she's so French, and she's like, no, I'm trying genuine emotions.
No. I've evolved past that. It's just like, no, I just don't like people
at all.
If somebody's pissed off about something, it's just like, no, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
be angry. Here's my question, and this will actually segue into another observation that I had here. So his first question in this particular game was, when was the first time you had sexual feelings towards another person? And I just wanted her to just like smack him.
I
and
did
then
too.
Leave.
But she actually, like, the story she told was so sweet.
Oh, this isn't
and
about the story
so
she
charming,
told.
but I had the same reaction. I'm like,
I'm just
please.
do not chase her away after she said yes to you.
Yes. I'm like, this is too soon. And he started the game.
Yep.
To get out of this awkward place that they were in.
The silence.
And it was funny because at one point I realized I was like, this is, I don't know if this is genuine, but you know that, in the famous scene in The Graduate when they're sitting on the bus after like he ran away with them, and they're just sitting on the bus and just like they have this look of like, what the fuck are we doing? Mm-hmm. They had a similar thing when they were sitting in the back of that tram, and it's I don't know if it's accidental or whatever, but I don't know. I had that moment too.
Well, that's kind of interesting, but
then again, don't people feel that way whenever they see any two people in a movie in the back of a
what I don't care
train.
For is the fact that her direct question after him was, "Have you ever been in love?" He's like, "No." Next question, and she's and he's blowing her off. He's like, "What are you talking about? Sexual?"
Well, exactly.
But for sexual,
that was a good question. This is a bad I'd be honest.
Well, yeah, because you're comfortable.
And also, his answer to the sexual one was also kind of BS.
Well,
it was this Playboy centerfold, where she told something that had actually a lot to say about who she was, and actually was quite brave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it was totally fair. It's just like, you're a woman, you have feelings. I'm a guy. I look at pictures.
Yeah, like I don't like to deal with real people.
Yeah,
and and the story she told, I don't know. I thought it was very,
beautiful,
true and lovely, and also like quite vulnerable, because it wasn't like it was very much about her having, like, I feel like a lot of times when you see women talking about their sexual feeling, they sort of, especially, I mean, she's so beautiful. Like, I'm sorry, maybe it's just me. I mean, I just found her just so gorgeous and so enchanting. And
somebody's getting vulnerable right now.
I am. And so she's telling a story in which she is like she is the one having sort of, desire.
Right. And that actually continues through the story, that makes it so even though she's stuck around with his weird inappropriateness,
she calls him on things.
She calls him on things. She also...
And he hears her. He doesn't ever shut down for any length of time when she calls him on stuff.
He responds to her.
He engages back. Or like he'll get a moment of defensive, but he never goes full on into like...
But he also, I do like that in the dialogue, he's like, did we just have our first fight?
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of interesting. But something else that came up that I just remembered, taking out the whole idea of, I just met this person for the first time and they're asking me an inappropriate question. If I were to answer that question just like right now, I'm just like, I don't know if I can answer that question. Her answer was just very specific.
It was so specific. And she says that.
Yeah.
I gave you something so specific.
Yeah.
And then they both admit that they wouldn't have answered honestly. And I think some of that not answering honestly is going to be some of that not answering honestly is because they both just had pretty humiliating romantic experiences, right?
Yeah.
Like where, and she tells like, I love the story that she tells of, I mean, both of them. I love the two stories they tell of like that there was a guy that she was only with because she thought like, I've been jumping around too much. I just need to like, I need to make it work, even though like he sounds awful. But I just almost like want to prove. And I remember either feeling this way or having a lot of friends who did this of like, everyone accuses me like, or I accuse myself. I feel self-conscious that I'm just flitting around too much. So the next guy, once they make that revelation, they're like, whatever it is, they're in. Male and female. So I shouldn't say guy, but whatever. The next person they run into. And basically after he breaks up with her, she becomes obsessed with him in a way she never was before. And then he tells a story of basically having, which is also common, like in graduate school, where it goes like the one of the members of the couple like goes off goes to goes to some program.
Mhm.
And he goes and visits her, and then she won't be alone with him. So he's gone from the U.S. to Italy, only to have her basically immediately break up with him, but not in a straightforward manner.
Okay,
They're both humiliating, and they both kind of, I think, like messed with each other's heads. Not that because they even were that close to the person or thought it was the right one, but I think they haven't figured love out.
okay, yeah. Well, at that age, it's very possible. That's gonna be not even possible.
Well, you spend more
is.
time talking about love than.
And that's what's kind of interesting about this movie is that as little as stuff happens, we get so much story of their life because of the stories they tell each other back and forth. So, other question for you. And it kind of dovetails into another thought that I've been having. Is Jesse charming? Because I want you to answer as Polina, who saw this movie for the first time and now. I have an answer to this question because you look like you're really contemplating.
No, I'm seriously like, when I saw it, when 23.
Yep.
Hell yes.
Okay.
Now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. That's fascinating. I myself, with his inappropriate questions and his
She also asks him some pretty pointed questions.
Well, he kind of led the charge in it, in the inappropriateness, but this is what I'll do is that she held her own very well, and this is going to go into my answer. The fact that he is being presented through the lens of her and their relationship, and she's able to bounce off of him and kind of just be like, hey, she calls him out on this one thing, but she's able to kind of salvage it because she wants the relationship to continue as it is. I'm thinking she's kind of given us permission to accept his faults.
Is so well put. No, that's really, really well put.
I thought that about her, and I'm just like, oh, wait.
Because
she softens him.
I had this is Hawktober, and I realized that I just found myself watching her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was permission to watch myself at 23 in a way. Like if that was kind of the lens, I don't really know. But I had this, I was telling you, like yesterday I went and saw Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, which is Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni. And the whole, it's basically like 3 acts. It's basically 3 short movies of them playing 3 different relationships. And the whole time I just was like, oh my God, I don't know who to watch. Like I want to rewatch this movie so I can just watch Marcello Mastroianni because I found myself really just watching Sophia Loren. Okay. And the festival was a Marcello Mastroianni festival, so I knew I would get some later. But it was like that feeling of this one. I'm like, would I rewatch it just to watch Ethan Hawke? And maybe the next time I happen to be rewatching it, but I didn't have that feeling. But you're right. Yeah.
That's something.
She does give you permission. So I don't know if I was just not watching. My point is maybe one of the reasons that we're watching her is because it was like, oh, this is now you have permission to watch your 23-year-old female self, or I mean, not my actual 23-year-old female self. I was not like Julie. I mean, I wanted to be, or maybe in my sort of best moments, felt like maybe for a moment her worst moments, but like, just watching somebody have that experience that I associated with. I talked about those kind of things.
No, it makes sense. And
it
was just
personality is similar to mine.
Sure. And I've noticed that a lot of these movies that I have revisited at the time, it was just like, wow, I love John Cusack so much. And I watched the movies again. Wow, I really like Diane Franklin a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, whoa, freaking Ione Skye is totally awesome in this movie. Why was I so fixated on answer? They were not good enough for him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And also, I think you're at that age, you're trying to figure men out. Now,
I'm still trying to figure them out.
I mean, I'm trying to figure them out, but I don't care as much.
I was going to say, wait, no, I'm not.
I mean, I'm trying to figure individual men out, but I'm not trying to figure them out in terms of me romantically and how they see me. And I thought that was actually really interesting. So at one point toward the end of the night, she starts a weird game with the telephone.
If I may.
Yes, please.
If I may. So
yeah, I want to hear about that.
So we have kind of an interesting thing, kind of like with our the Cutting Edge and Revenge of the Nerds, where there are multiple sequels to speak of. We have the Before time frame trilogy, and so we have all of this, stories. The story has continued with the original actors, with the original director, and everyone's putting their fingers into it. So if I may, in our the whole thing of when did they fall in love, I'll get it started. You were about to comment on the phone call, the fake phone call they have as they're across a booth. And honestly, when did they fall in love? I think for her, it's when she started to pick up the phone, when she said, I'm going to call my friend. And then she started that whole conversation. And that was her moment right there. Because here she is, she's opening herself up to her in a way that says, I'm going to play a game with you. But then she's just putting it all out on the table in a fake phone conversation. That was her moment.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's funny. I have a really hard time even trying to pinpoint when.
And he just followed her with her because that's what he does.
Yes, that's the thing.
And him falling in love with her, I'm going to say it's when the phone call was over. Sorry,
really?
I interrupted you.
Oh, wow. That is a great answer.
That's my thoughts.
Wow, Diana. That is really good.
I'm deep.
You are. No, that's right. Because the thing I took away from that moment is she's like, I just told you this, like, you think I'm crazy, that I'm this mean person, and this worry, this anxiety that she had, which is so, when you watch it, you're like, wait, she was thinking this? She was having these insecurities? Like, that's so crazy.
I'd also like to point out that she started that conversation in French, and he's like, I've been working on my English.
That was really good. That was really good. How about we do that? I thought that was great that she was going to do the whole thing. And I wonder if that's what
I wonder if that was her getting her courage.
She was getting her courage. She's like, I can just tell you everything I want to tell you in French.
Oh.
No, and then he kind of, called her.
I didn't even think that part. I was just thinking she was just trying to get even more courage of just like, now just remember, there are parts of you that are superior to his, so... He has no idea what you're saying right now. Yeah. Damn it, he saw around it.
Yeah, and he took French, which I also really associate with because I took 4 years of French, and my French is appalling. I don't know what it is. I just do not learn it well. Anyway.
Well, you're out of practice.
Well, no, but at the time.
You're out of practice.
Oh, yeah. I'm killer at French. I just don't have to do it. So let's see. When did they fall in love? I think it's also great. I feel like it's like a bunch of little things that suddenly just added up to like real love. And I think
that's love, Polina.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like there was a moment of like there was
it when the train went over 50 miles per hour?
It's always when the train goes around over. Okay, so remember early on they were in a record store?
Yes.
And they ended up in a listening booth. And that scene is so fantastic.
For the expressions that they give when she plays her that record, I was actually extrapolating so much and just like, she's playing something, she's enjoying it. She's like, oh, dear God, I hope you like this too.
Yeah. But then also like they're standing there and it's like, they suddenly realize that they're alone, really alone together with this romantic music. And they don't know if they like it. Like, it's a little cheesy, but it's also good. And then, like, it's kind of describing exactly what it is. And he starts to really look at her. And he's got that look on his face like he's going to kiss her.
Yeah.
And then she's she's like, keeps looking away. And you can't tell if she wants to kiss him back. And then every time she looks at him, he looks away. And they're trying to be cool because he does, like, obviously, I mean, this is one thing I appreciate from him. Yes, he asked her that question, but he didn't make a move on her.
When they were in the booth or when they were in the Ferris wheel?
No, like, I mean, they'd been together for hours at this point.
Okay.
Right?
Because I will point out that in the Ferris wheel, he's doing the whole, like, I'm just, blah blah blah, kiss you, and then she's the one who does it.
She's the one who does it.
And it's
exactly.
and it's just like he gets credit for it because he said it first. But like, yeah, but you didn't do any of the work.
Oh, I know. He did none of the work. He was so awkward about it.
Like, once again, making
it's
her
a great
hashtag goals.
Yeah. So, I think he kind of turns to her and.
Are we back in the booth?
Yeah, just like really, really looks at her, listening to the song.
Yeah,
I think he falls in love a little bit then too.
Okay.
Also, but when he moves away from that kiss, just the look on his face is just like he has been hit by like a ton of bricks. Like he just had no idea it would feel like that.
It's also really sweet that she goes in just to kind of hug him and nuzzle him afterwards. It's not just make out.
Yeah.
No, there is like tenderness and nuzzling that exists in real relationships that it doesn't look amazing on screen.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, this looks kind of weird, but it looks real.
Oh, it's really real. And then he just like closes his eyes and kind of, smells her hair. Yeah.
He probably needed a shower so bad too.
Oh, but that was the other thing, both of them. And I also like that in the morning, she looks tired. Like she doesn't, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't.
I'd be so damn tired by this point.
Of course, but you're so full of like, hormones and adrenaline and coffee and.
Not me.
That's true.
I don't drink coffee.
That's true. See, you would never be able to have a night like this. You don't drink coffee.
I would have looked tired the night before.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is I started out looking tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the closest I really got to being visually healthy is I also never really, I had long hair that I never brushed.
Oh, okay.
But mine didn't look as fetching as hers. So that's, and I think, I'm trying to think I think when he was maybe telling her this, I mean, she kind of says it. She's like, when he's telling her the story, so I feel like I'm cheating. He tells her the story about seeing his grandmother in the water.
Yeah. He's telling. Okay, so I
just felt like it was a lot of drops of water that kind of added up to it. I feel like I should have a more precise. I'm like, I love your answer so much that I feel.
Well, I'm also removed from it because it's not like permeated my soul since I was, in my early 20s.
Yeah, that's true.
And for you, they just are.
They just are.
They just are.
They just are.
Could you pinpoint your own marriage of when the exact moment you fell in love with your husband? When was your first sexual experience?
When was your first? No, but I thought that was actually good because it wasn't her sexual experience. It was your first moment of sexual desire.
Same question.
It's not at all.
No, it's not.
That's what's kind of great about the question.
Yeah.
Even though it was very creepy and probably ill-timed. Like that would have been a question for later.
I don't even...
Totally think it would have been a question for later.
Well, no. Ew.
Then it's interesting.
You mean like over dessert that he couldn't afford? That they stole?
Did they ever steal dessert? No, just the bottle of wine.
No, just later that day he asked her, we've been together for like at least 45 minutes.
Well, just like, but like for, 6 hours in.
No, we don't have to focus.
Anyway, okay. So you were saying that I find, it's hard for me to think about what happens to them after because I feel like that's what happened in the movies. In a way, I feel like other sequels, I know I've made fun of you before, like The Cutting Edge. I was like, we're allowed. But those movies were made by other people, other writers, other directors, with other people, other actors.
Yeah. Poor Doug and Kate.
Oh, Doug and Kate. But I can't do that with this movie because I feel like, well, I just trust, them as the people that they become.
I'm gonna step in like Céline and rescue you from this scenario.
You.
Okay. So what's gonna happen is, as the non-connected person to this movie,
please.
I myself am going to answer the question, what happens next? Even though I am aware of the various sequels, I have not seen them. Because why would I see the sequels when I haven't seen the original? I mean, unless it's a Rocky movie,
Oh, yeah, or James Bond film or something
like that makes sense. I will answer that question on behalf of myself,
please.
But I will make it so you can participate as well.
Okay, good.
So my answer to that is, Jesse doesn't strike me as the type as, well, he can commit to something. He jumps on a plane and kind of pseudo surprises his girlfriend, and it was very ill-timed. And when does that ever go well? I'm going to reach out and be with my girlfriend who we're in a long-distance relationship, and surprises are just bad. And there happens to be all these other people, and she's having
it's
life.
one thing if you're like you live 2 hours away.
Maybe.
But even then,
it's still, well, first of
or
all,
it's like, you're like, you call their friend and go, I'm showing up at this party.
there's that, or you tell them you're coming and then you read the cues and you save yourself a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Almost.
Yeah.
Almost poor guy.
Yeah.
So my point is that he doesn't, he can like carry on with this whole romantic thing, but I don't see him following through with coming back. And that's what's unfortunate, is that they both have to travel. He just has to travel further. And I get the feeling that he's going to like run himself out. Like he's going to ride the high of this relationship that he had, and it's going to be a story that he had, but I don't think he's going to go back. And I think she's also going to move on with college, and I don't think she's going to go back either. It's going to be a story. It's going to be interesting, but then they're going to get distracted by their own lives. And sad in the non-romantic ways that they don't go back. They don't meet up like they plan to. And life goes on. He's going to do his thing. I don't know what his thing is. And I feel like I don't want to be cheating because I read the synopsis.
I know, yeah. That's the problem.
But he's going to be, do you remember what he studied?
I thought it was writing.
Okay, he studied writing, then that's too easy. He's going to be a copy editor. Is that a thing? Copyright. Okay, he's going to be a copy editor.
Or a copywriter.
He's going to be a copy editor.
Mm-hmm.
And,
no, copy editor makes
yeah,
sense.
that's fine. And he's just going to kind of plot his way through in publishing, and it'll be okay. She is going to be okay. I'm going to buy into the French cliche, but she's going to work in a museum of some kind, an art museum. What did she study again? What did she study?
I don't actually. You never find out.
Oh, good. Okay, so she's gonna work
in this movie.
She's gonna work in an art museum. She's going to work in the art museum. France has one, right?
Yeah,
I apologize to all Europeans.
You'd like the Louvre or the Pompidou? Like, which one?
Yes.
Do you want to keep going?
She's going to work in an art museum. She's going to be a curator.
I can't believe you missed that opportunity to make fun of me.
I was too busy apologizing to all Europeans. What about a pompadour? I don't understand. So she's going to do that. They're going to move on, and 15 years down the road, they're going to be on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're going to see each other.
Because you didn't realize there's like email isn't even really a thing. They don't actually exchange phone numbers.
No, they don't. Email. They're just say, I will meet you here at this point. And it's not.
Because they're college students, and frankly, you can give someone a phone number and it's not going to be valid.
The weird thing is that you can do that now with a phone number and it won't be valid.
Well, no, because cell phones are move.
No, I know they do. A lot of people don't answer the phone.
Oh, that. Yes, but you can still leave a message.
Well, now you can.
But this was like nothing. There was no like, he couldn't, hey, actually, I'm getting the, Nobel Peace Prize that week, so I cannot meet you.
What did she win the Peace Prize for?
Oh.
Okay. Well, she didn't because she works in a museum as a curator.
But the thing she curated. No.
Oh.
She returned a work to Egypt.
No. She met an American werewolf in Paris. No.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Ultimately.
But that was only a blip in the radar.
They're going to wander onto Facebook and find each other, but they'll both be single at the time, but it's not going to be like the long lost love situation. In fact, if anything, he's going to like do some weird Facebook stalking of her, and then she'll actually reach out, and then they'll talk about making plans to see each other, but then they won't.
Do you think they won't because they don't? It's just they don't want to, or sort of like even if they don't admit it to themselves, it's better to fantasize about what could be than to actually have to.
Kind of in his
engage.
Story of like, he will be the one you always wonder, what if I had just gotten off the train? She got to get off the train with him, so she doesn't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
She's being polite, but in the end, she's just like, if she's that amazing and confident in herself at 23, can you imagine her at like closer to 40?
I can.
There it is. Damn it, you know the story. All right, well, okay, so then that was my that was me half stepping on the neck of your love.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, I think this is
That was me jesseing it up.
You were
my cynicism.
You jessied. You went full Jesse.
All right. So then, so you get to participate despite the fact of your, oh, I'm Polina. I have a writer and director and the two stars making and continuing my love story.
Yeah. So even though I refuse to accept this in your movie, mine is legitimate.
Well then here's the question. Then suppose for the sake of argument, we have like a different scenario. Like in the end of the movie, she gets on the train, he gets on the bus. We'll tweak it then. Tweak the ending.
I thought you'd never ask. Thank you for giving me the permission. Yeah, I think because I can't do the thing. I can't.
Yeah, you can't
go there.
You can't imagine something when you've already been given the reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would your husband's be like if he had never met you? Go. Well, you know, that's not. First of all, why would you want to play with that scenario?
Probably a lot.
He would be like so rich.
He'd be the same. You know, like you like to think, he'd be exactly the same, but more miserable.
Yeah. He's got a smoking hot wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, why would
Who's
you
like super successful?
Why would you mess with that? So here, Polina,
exactly.
Suppose they didn't do how they.
I think.
Did.
Okay, so let's pretend.
Okay.
That they decide that they stayed. That when they were parting, because it seemed like such a good idea, but the reality of it was so difficult that they and just got very real very quickly. That basically what he does is he gives up this train to like they basically stay together.
Okay.
After that movie. So I basically think that so let's say he walks into that airport and is like, actually, there's no way he could find her. So, well, he doesn't know her, so you can look her up at the Sorbonne.
Okay.
And but let's say that basically she says, because now it's her turn, she's like, do you actually have to grab this plane ticket? If it was that cheap, can you eat it?
Okay.
Or let's spend more time.
Well, he admitted that it wasn't even that much cheaper. Yeah. So,
he just wanted this excuse.
Yep.
And she's like, what are you going back to? So let's say that he goes, so he basically, he gets a leave of absence for a semester. She's not going to do that. And he convinced her, he's like, let's just make this work for a few weeks. Because you don't really, it's not absolutely clear, though looks like it's becoming a little follier. It's not absolutely clear when that, maybe there's like a few weeks or a month, and maybe that's what he's saying. He's like, I will figure this out. I will fix it, but let's just at least spend a little more time together than one night.
Okay. Let's
see if this really works in real life. And basically, moves in with her in Paris.
Okay.
I actually think that they kind of give it a go. That he she teaches him how to be more sophisticated.
Not hard.
Not that hard. He
bones up on his French.
He actually learns French. I was going to make a terrible childish joke about the bones up on his French thing, but I didn't. Oh yeah, I guess I did.
You just did.
I just did. I wouldn't stand up in a court of law. So I'm
recording it.
But I didn't. Okay. But I do actually. I think that at first it is going to be really magical because she's going to show him Paris. Her friends are actually going to like him because he will be I mean, he is charming, or she sees it from her end. He's in, let's say he's in graduate school, and so he can actually do his dissertation there.
Okay.
And figures out a way to do so after a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And because he kind of realizes that he has to be like, he can't be a pretentious person, because she is very serious. She's very serious about her work.
Yeah.
And the things she actually cares about. And at first, that's a real tension. But then it actually becomes this energizing force.
Okay.
And I think that so I think they're together for a number of years, and then he tries to figure out a way to move back to the US. Mm-hmm. So she does. And I think she becomes sort of miserable. But I think that they part as friends. I mean, I think that, and maybe they get married, maybe they don't.
Okay. I
think they're probably together for about 8 years.
Okay.
And then when she moves to the US, she's like, this isn't really what I want. Mm-hmm. Or at least I don't want it to be like this, because he's going to figure all this stuff out in Paris. He's going to figure out work. He may, become he may work on being a sort of a journalist. He sort of parlays the American in Paris thing into maybe, some regular writing gigs.
Sure.
He, not like a serious, war zone kind of journalist.
No.
But, it's like the 2000s, so maybe there's a lot of internet sort of stuff that can have, a lot of that sort of internet content is king sort of writing. So then he, because that's coming, it's 95. Mm-hmm. So, becomes kind of a columnist type. So, but when he moves back to the U.S., it's not going to be as easy for him. There'll be a crash.
Yeah.
She's going to do fine, but it's at this point he has, all of his friends, your friends after college and graduate school, like move everywhere. So he's not going to have as much of a thing, and it's all of these qualities that they kind of liking each other are going to kind of fall apart, and they're going to realize like this isn't the right thing. I think she's going to leave him.
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to be bitter. I think it'll be bitter, but I think they'll stay friends.
That if anything, that speaks to her character, that she's the one leaving him.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least in what we saw in this movie.
Or they're together forever, and they just kind of hop back and forth. But I think that the second one's more realistic.
Wait, the
one. My original thought, but I just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, I love these two together. Like I don't know. Yeah. I just really like this movie.
That's really good. And there isn't a lot in here. There isn't a lot in here that speaks to the dysfunction and the destruction of their future. So you being cynical about, they're together forever. No, it's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. But that's not what happens.
Kate and Doug forever. What?
Yes. But would you see the other movies?
Would I see the other movies?
Like, does this make you want to see the other movies?
I'm curious. Yeah, but it was a lot of talky, so I might need to space them out.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do an entire festival of these unless you were.
No, like I said,
I mean, maybe I could, but
no. I learned my lesson from watching Major League and Major League 2 back to back.
Yeah, that was yeah, that's rough. I didn't make you do that, did I?
No, why would you? What?
I don't know.
You don't remember our episode of Major League and Major League 2?
I'm like, was there like a lost weekend where I somehow recorded Major League and Major League 2, which I've never seen either Major League nor Major League 2.
You know the rule.
Okay, great. Well, that was a super good time.
Oh, yeah, thanks. So there we go. We did it. We did Before Sunrise.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And it's still, the sun is still... there's still some sun out there.
You're making a pun right now?
No.
Good.
Not really, because that wasn't successful.
Okay. All right. That works too.
Yeah.
So yes. Jinx.
What's business?
What's next on the agenda?
Yeah.
Well, Hawktober will continue.
It will.
And I think that we have to hit this, incredible movie from the Ethan Hawke over The Purge.
Oh, no, don't make me watch that.
Okay, fine. We'll do Dead Poet Society.
Oh,
instead.
thank God. So much better. Oh my God. I'm still like, even thinking about the Purge movies makes me nervous.
Makes you want to purge?
Yes. Yeah.
You see how I always bring it back around to Robert Sean Leonard?
You are.
Dead Poet Society.
That is a very.
Josh
It's a little
Charles.
skill. It's such a skill. There were. There. This is kind of a. This is kind of Crush Central.
This is a a genesis of so many crushes.
I really worry that we're going to. There's going to be a lot of like squealing in this next episode. We're going to have to watch out for that.
It's very possible, but
You never know.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? There's a lot of crushiness on this movie.
So if you have thoughts on Before Sunrise, we want to hear them. We are on Facebook. We're at Happily Ever Aftermath. And we're on Twitter at HEAMCast.
HEAMCAST.
And you can always reach us by email, contact@heamcast.com. If you like us, please tell a friend. You can also rate, review, and subscribe. We're happy to be part of the great Lady Pod Squad.
Great content. Speaking of content being king, I guess it's queen. I don't know. I'm just terrible at this punning thing right now.
It's good stuff.
It's just good stuff.
It's just good stuff. And
there's nothing but good.
Yeah. And you can check us out. You can check them out, including us, if you search on all the social media, hashtag Lady Pod Squad. There it is. So check it out. Dead Poet Society next time.
Dead Poet Society.
We're all good here.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.